Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Bugs Must Die. Continuing on from the last episode, I'll now be going to the boss rush mode, formerly known as the challenge mode. In this mode, I have to defeat a series of 8 bosses in rapid succession. In addition to the 16 bosses I can encounter from story mode, I'll also be coming across some secret bosses which I never encountered before. So I will play through the boss rush mode several times. First as the Mantis Warrior, then as the Mantis Ninja, then as the race car. So first the Rambo XP taking place in the stage 14 arena. Pretty easy boss to start out with, but the selection is always random. I can end up starting off with a really difficult boss at first. And as I defeat more and more bosses, I get more money at the end. This is a boss I never encountered before. An armor knight who throws mines at me. In addition to his usual set of attacks. I really need to find some weapon upgrades though. So that's this boss done. Wait, there's a second phase to this boss? Alright, that's different. Never mind, just a refill room. Only get one choice of refill though. On to the next one. I don't recall which boss this is. First, let me take care of his support cannons. I would play more aggressively if I had the Zeus shield. There's my first power-up. Now the boss at the end of stage 6. So after every 2 bosses, I get the choice of what refill to use. So far the boss rush mode has been rather easy, but that's probably because of the choice of bosses I've gotten so far. Oh, this boss. This was the true final boss. Essentially, this is the harder mode version because look at all the projectiles being fired everywhere. I really need to do shield for this. See, got hit by a missile, I didn't see it. I was paying too much attention to everything else. Oh well, at least I got all this money. If I could face off against that tank boss later on in the run, I'd be a lot better. I suppose that's the trade-off of playing as a character with much higher firepower. I only get one shot. Remember, I don't have access to an escape pod. Higher risk, higher reward. And playing as these characters would pose a greater threat if I hadn't upgraded my HP stat. I am decently compensated, so repurchasing these lost drones isn't too much of a financial burden. I also wish the sound effect when you take damage is more obvious when playing as a Mantis Warrior or Ninja. When playing as one of the default vehicles, it's obvious, but here it blends in with the other sound effects. It seems that the level starts completing itself when I walk onto one of the mats. Rambo XP yet again. Why am I getting the same selection of bosses as before? Though the order has been randomized. Stage 6 boss again. Perhaps the selection of bosses I'll get is dependent on which hero I'm playing as. What just happened there? I skipped the 5th entry. At least this arena is bigger than the original arena, so dodging everything is a cakewalk essentially. Yeah, I don't know what happened here. I suppose that's a glitch. At least it's a glitch in my favor. Stage 4 or 5's boss. In that Space VR setup. Titan's sword seems to be underpowered. It doesn't deal enough damage per hit, but I suppose it's supposed to be used for defeating waves of enemies. I really should try my Holy Whip ability against these bosses. I don't know how effective it's going to be. Got a new escape pod as well. Well, that's a fitting conclusion. This boss at the end of the 12 routes level. At least I didn't have to face off against the true final boss. That'd have been a huge pain. Is there one last challenge after this? Otherwise, we don't need any last life pickups at the end. That's it. Decent amount of money, but no golden bricks, sadly. So now I'm going to go through this mode as the Mantis Ninja, as I'm not sure if I'm going to have a different selection of bosses. Just to make sure that the game's RNG has been reshuffled, I decided to restart the game. And it already has. This boss I never faced off against before. I think this was the boss at the end of that forest chapter, where I had the 300-second time limit. Even more so than the Bi Needle, the Dark Needle needs upgrades to shine. The shield bosses are kind of annoying without having more sub-weapons. This time I won't really pick up any of the sub-weapons other than these, because I need more health. At least I'm getting a new selection of bosses. One of the first bosses I've ever faced in the game. And it appears that their HP and armor values have not been buffed up. They are about the same as they were before. I wish the arenas were varied up more. Perhaps battling these bosses in smaller versions of their original arenas. This time, the normal final boss. But the arena is bigger this time. That means that the boss's projectile spread shown here can't actually reach me. Only those blue projectiles can reach me. Well, this looks like a glitch. I honestly expected boss rush mode to be much harder. Outside the modified version of my spaceship and the Super Tank True Final Boss, this is easier. Well, this is a new boss. In the original version of this stage, I went straight through into that door. Okay, the weak point is the center. Wait, there's a second phase? I barely have enough life left. Oh, that was a close one. Second hardest boss so far, but it was a fair one. I kind of wish I faced off against it during the main game. Cowboy time. As long as you don't get surprised by his projectile burst, you should be fine. You know, the spear isn't that bad actually, as long as you stay away from the boss. Only one left to go, and this will be done. So far I've encountered mostly story-based bosses, and 4 secret bosses. Did those spears just explode on him, dealing massive damage? Imagine having to do it with the basic submachine gun. And it's over. This time I didn't break the order. And my reward is nothing new, sadly. Time to play as Mach 6. And just like with the 2 previous heroes, just to make sure that the RNG is refreshed. When playing as one of the 3 default vehicles, you have to make sure to conserve your ammo. After all, their default primary weapons are some of the weakest weapons in the entire game, especially at weapon level 0. Against easier bosses like this one, I strongly suggest to use weapons that don't chew to their ammo capacity quickly. Instead, use weapons like the wind gun. Third face-off against the modified spaceship. Second time in this arena. Like before, I'll use the Gatling gun, but I'll stay away just to be safe. Let me try using the wing gun. It does have a bigger hitbox. Slightly lower DPS than the Gatling gun, sadly. Then again, that's probably because I didn't upgrade the wing gun's damage fully. And I don't want to spam all my sub-weapons just yet. I may need them for the last set of bosses. Ah, you again. Could you please stop doing this shield attack? You never did this much during the original boss battle. At least it's over. Hardest to counter against them yet. But that's more due to their RNG and selection of attacks. At least I have a crazy amount of Gatling gun ammo now, over 3700, much over my base ammo capacity. The Pyramid, one of the toughest bosses in the game, but that was also probably because of the selection of weapons I had. Considering the placement of this boss in the game, it should be a later game boss. The bosses immediately following it are much easier. Is it just me, or was this boss arena bigger than originally? Or perhaps it's because I'm much stronger now, and much more skilled with the game? So the final challenge at the end of the arena is this much simpler boss. Oh no, it isn't the much simpler boss, it's this boss. It is a pretty fun boss fight. I just wish I fought in story mode. Now imagine if I ended up dying there, that would be really embarrassing. Boss rush mode with the vehicle is done. The hardest out of the 3 heroes, I'd say. Outside of certain bosses, the boss rush mode was much easier than I expected. For one, I expected the refill rooms to appear after every 3 or 4 bosses. In fact, some bosses were easier than their original incarnations. Only 1 or 2 of them were tougher. For instance, the Super Tank's secret final boss. That was a pain, as the arena's original size was double. I wish in a future update there is a harder version of the boss rush added. That'd be fun for more experienced players. So in the next episode, I'll be covering dungeon mode. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!